Hello and welcome everyone to another Industry Live Sensitive Assumption series. I'm ThatKimberly and I want to thank you for stopping in and joining us this morning. I'm super excited to have my guest on today. Lissi, like Khaleesi, Lissi Daniels is joining me and sharing her journey to a harmonious, balanced life, as we were talking earlier. She's still in pursuit, but she's working on it. It's an everyday thing, and she's going to share how and why she decided to pursue her speaking coaching career and how that all evolved. So I'm really excited to jump into that. Before we do, I want to make sure to remind you all everywhere that you're watching, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. And you can watch the replay on any of these places as well. But if you have a comment or you have a mental health journey or you have anything you want to say, please leave it in the comments. We want to hear from you. If we can answer a question you have on the live, we want to do that too as well. If you want to, oh wow, see, this is my technology. I'm multitasking, folks, and I'm having a little moment right now, but that's okay. It happens. But if you click here at this link, this Metro Bio, ThatKimberly, there are some places some resources you can download for free. There are all the places you can watch the live from and other past lives as well. And then if you want to be a guest, this is the last thing that I'm going to remind you, that if you want to be a guest, please email me, Kimberly@marketingdoer.com. Or if you know somebody who should be a guest, would love to chat with them. So without further ado, I'm bringing my guest on, Miss Daniels.
Hello, Kimberly. Thank you so much for having me as a guest on your podcast. I'm so excited to be here and share some insights and hopefully an inspiring story to someone out there.
Yeah, I am super grateful and excited that when I asked you to come on, that you were at like, yes, there weren't any questions. It was like just a yes. And I love it when I get guests like that are just like, absolutely. Even though you speak for a living, you said you had never gone live, and so you were a little nervous, but you were open to any conversation, which I love. And was shocked that you would get nervous about anything, because your energy is just so free flowing. But yeah, tell everybody a little bit about yourself first before we jump into the topic, and then we'll talk about what led you down this road.
Yeah, well, I do get nervous still. I think that's just the energy within yourself. And I always say when you stop getting nervous, that means that's something that you just don't absolutely love anymore, or you're not doing what you love, right? Yeah. But no, again, my name is Lissi Daniels. I am a national speaker. I speak, train, anything to where I can leave that lasting impact, encourage individuals in our industry, just in person, one-on-one. I love to do what I can. And sometimes I always say yes. And then I go back and think like, whoa, I said yes. I will think this one through. But I am just excited to share this story with you guys.
Well, thank you. So when we were talking about what we should be talking about, you absolutely had no problem saying, hey, I want to tell people, that I have anxiety, that I get nervous, that why did you leave the operations side of multifamily and start this journey?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So to start off with that, I do have severe anxiety. I deal with it every single day. It's something that it's a mind over matter situation, working through it. I've been in operations for over, 16 years. I don't love the journey I was on, but in the last 6 years after my father passed, coming this September, it would be 6 years. I realized that I was chasing a dream that was causing more anxiety to me than I actually really realized.
Really?
Yeah,
Why was that? Why do you think that was?
I think because, you set back and you think that this is what you want to achieve, this is what you want to do, and you're grateful for the opportunities and you love it, but then the overwhelmness of it and the everyday hustle and bustle. And then at the same time, your heart truly starts to tell you what you really want. And then we are in our mind frame where we're always thinking this is what we need to do. And then I had to really sit back and realize this wasn't what my heart wanted to do. And the calming effect of less anxiety came after that transition of what I'm doing right now.
Wow. So it was when you're, so what do you think changed when your dad passed away that to cause that, like, hey, I need to do something different?
I went through a lot of different emotions at that time when my father passed. I think it was a lot of pent up emotions from past, just traumas in life and just challenges. And I think I had to really go through a whole journey of self-discovery of myself, becoming a better person. I think that's what led me on that path of discovering who is Lissi, right? Who am I all about through those anxieties of going through therapy, and also understanding, how can I make a bigger impact? What can I do differently? What is really meaningful to me? And it took me a while to get there. I'm still going through that journey, but I think it's a step-by-step process.
It's an everyday process, believe me. I have definitely, I'm a strong believer in therapy, and so I appreciate you mentioning therapy, because that is one thing. Oh, I forgot to put this up. This was, this is not medical advice, people.
Yes, no me.
Our stories. I'm gonna have to throw that up at the end again, because I forgot to put that up at the beginning of my notes. But the therapy is, I tell people, or I have said this before, that if I had started therapy in my 20s, I didn't start in my late 30s. If I had started in my 20s, I wouldn't have ended up in emergency detention for the second time, because I would have, and if I had been working on it, continue to work on it every single day. Like the first time I ever, even realized that I had all this pent up, that I had this mood disruptive disorder that I didn't know I had, was during COVID, and I got put into emergency detention. But if I had stayed going to see a therapist like I was supposed to, I don't think I would have ended up in the second time. So if I'd started earlier with therapy, and I stayed doing therapy or mindfulness or mental health every single day, I wouldn't have ended up again in an emergency timeout, if you will, adult timeout. What kind of therapy did you do, and was it immediately right? Was it while your dad was sick, or was it immediately after he passed away?
I went through cognitive behavioral therapy. It was a way of helping me rethink the things that was triggering me and how to access it from going from a level 10 to down to a level 0. It helped me really kind of write out my feelings in the moment and why was that the cause of those feelings and those thoughts that I was going through. And it really happened right after my father passed, because of the sense that it was a lot of emotions I think I pent up and didn't know how to express that. But then at the same time, I think I grew further along with it, and it didn't go away. It just kind of grew with it down the line of how to really check that balance of it. What was really the thing that was really meaningful versus not, and then how to let go of it. So.
And through that therapy, that's when you decided that you were no longer going to stay on the operations side of multifamily, correct?
Yeah, so that came a little bit later in my journey. I realized.
Shocked? Were you shocked at that?
I was shocked, because you would think I was like, okay, I'm good now. I can get through the process. But as I was continuously growing in my career and having those opportunities, I realized that something was missing, something wasn't right, and it was causing this unwarranted anxiety that I just did not like about myself. And I wanted to, really change the outlook of that and grow from that. And then that's when I really went back to those learning experiences that I went through therapy, and those notes of how to go back and journal it, write it down, and really find out what that main purpose was, what was really like tugging at my heartstrings.
And that was to totally go off on your own and not
Yeah, I know, right?
and not have any support,
No
but just
support. Yeah,
go
you would
on
think that would
no.
be the biggest anxiety, right? In dealing
Well,
with
no, I
that.
mean, I think you have. I don't want to say you don't have any support because everybody loves you. The people that have you worked with, they encourage you, they support you. They meaning they refer you, they
Yes,
talk about you. They if it comes, when it comes down to speaking about things, you're definitely, on people's minds because of your bubbly, outgoing, just you're charismatic. Like for you to tell me that you have severe anxiety, I was shocked, right? That because I got anxiety over time, right?
yeah,
And maybe my anxiety came out differently when I was younger. And I know I did different things to cope with my anxiety when I was younger than I do now in my 50s. But it's for someone who stands up in front of the audiences is it's shocking to me.
yeah. It's funny that when you asked, we were talking about this. I was like, I'm so inspirational. I'm so outgoing. I'm so like, yeah, this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to present. But it's a mental process too, with inside of me to really have the positive affirmations, the calmness, the writing down, the self check before I speak, to go through that, and just also know that just because I'm so positive and full of energy, that we all have a story, that what we're dealing with every single day and getting through. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And if we're not paying attention or sitting in it, um, right now I was trying to multitask because I was having a little bit of anxiety about some other issues when it comes to technical things that I can't control. But I
yes,
realize that when I am having anxiety and I don't sit in it, or I don't figure out why I'm having this anxiety, instead of running, like in the past, I used to like get a drink. I'm not a heavy drinker, and I always say I don't. I prefer it's other things over can I prefer cannabis over alcohol. I'm just gonna go and throw that out there. But alcohol, right? I'm not a heavy drinker, but I will drink, and that's not the avenue I want to be going towards, like or going out to go party, or going out to like I had different avenues to release. And when I didn't sit in the anxiety of figuring out why or what I was feeling, um, it gave it like it made me feel better when I figure out why I'm
yeah.
having this anxiety, right?
I Yeah, I think it's really recognizing those trigger points of it, because I think triggers what causes the anxiety over it. And I think being in the operational side, it was the point where it was just my story of just where I wasn't loving the process of the heaviness, the fast pace, this is today, tomorrow, versus to where I wasn't getting fully, I wasn't being able to really do what I love, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. Like,
yeah, it does.
like you chasing two dreams, and you get to one point, and you're there, and you're like, wow, there's so much more to that. And I
Yeah.
think that's the component that I was missing, to why I transitioned into or becoming more of a public speaker and being able to make that impact, because then that's where the purpose came. That's where I was able to inspire. And that's where I was able to tell people that, you have to have that balance of life. You have to have that sense of, relievement from anything of anxiety. And if you do, take time for yourself, discover
Mhm.
yourself, figure yourself out when it comes to
Lean
journaling.
in.
Lean
Yeah, lean
into
in,
it.
lean into it.
Don't like steer away from it, because it's easy to do. And I did that for years until
Oh
now.
yeah.
And
Yeah. And
so,
it affects, and I don't know about you, but it affected when I wasn't paying attention to my mental health, and I wasn't doing things to ensure that my mental health was positive and 100%. It's never going to be 100%, but
no,
because I don't want to say that, but when I'm not having a good day, recognizing that I'm not having a good day, so that way I cannot take it out on my mother first, and or
mhm,
anybody else that I interact with throughout the day, any of my clients, any of my interactions online, any of my interactions in a day to day, at the grocery store or wherever, right?
yeah,
Like if I'm not paying attention to my mental health every single day, and mindful every minute, then I can easily get, like it can easily become negative. So I choosing those positive, things,
yeah,
whatever it may be, whether it's maybe what not alcohol. immediately, or not something that's going to cause some sort of, like, it's going to get me into any kind of trouble legally. I'm not going to do something like that. But knowing that I could choose food, that I could choose water, that I can go and exercise. Do you do anything, any kind of regimen that?
Yeah, so I do take my daily walks. I like to be in nature. I think gives me a sense of peace at the same
Yeah.
time. I do a lot of journaling, a lot of writing. I think it really helps me really put out my feelings, what I'm going through. But another self-care thing that I found within myself through this journey was my daily inspirations. So I do a lot of those content blogs and writing, and that has really helped me grow and build at the same time. But
Awesome.
it also has relieved a lot anxiety at the same
So
as well.
what is there a one of your just recent daily inspirations that you would share?
I can share. I mean, I have so many that I have, but I remember my very first. So I'll go to my
Okay,
very first one.
there we go.
I just pulled out a recorder and I just said, I'm just going to talk. I was having a really rough day. And I was like, I'm just going to sit there and replay something that I was reading and I was thinking about. And it was about living an abundant life and then just how to go about it. And from that moment of doing that video, it stuck with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so good, because I was really feeling like at that point, at that time in my life, that I was just all over the place. Nothing was happening right. I wasn't really 100% happy. But when I did the video, what I was doing, I was expressing it. I was writing a journal out loud. And then when I put it out there, I realized that it was something inspiring to other people. So, but that just kept me going with those. And it was just living in that moment of it and just realize that we have more to offer than what you realize sometimes.
Yeah. And when we put it, when you put it out there in that format, like you're verbally journaling and you're verbally speaking, you're a lot more mindful, but you have it recorded and it's there. And everybody's brain is different, so we all react differently to everything, right? Mental health is it's brain health, right? Because what makes up our mind is our brain. Our brain tells our mind what to think, period. And for before it gets to our brain, it's the actions and the things we see, the things we do, all this built up trauma and tissue that causes our brain to tell our mind what to think, right? So just layman terms, I had to have somebody break this down for me, because I'm not a scientist. We are not doctors, people. We are just talking about
just our own personal journeys.
Correct, but it makes a lot more sense when you first put out your daily, inspiration. When you did that live on social media, you had a sense of community a little bit, right? Like because those are the people that you're connected with. And it makes, I think it makes a difference. It encourages me, because I do a quick, live on Instagram before we go live here, because StreamYard, love me some StreamYard people. That's how we do this. But it does not connect to Instagram. Instagram does not play nice with anyone. So I guess they don't have to. They're owned by Meta. But anyways, I go live on Instagram talking about whatever's coming, whether it is in lieu of what we're going to be speaking about, or for that day of the guest, or whatever I'm going through in that day, that morning, because I wake up too and I go for a walk. I don't do as much journaling as I used to, but I still journal thoughts just to remember. But I realized that when I go live, before I do this live, and I'm just talking to the camera, my thoughts, I try to keep them some organized, because they can definitely go in a, full circle and I can lose some people. But I try to do my best to whatever is in that moment, whatever I'm feeling and thinking. And it's because it's from something that has just, however I woke up that way, or something that happened to me the night before, it really affects us.
Well,
pay attention.
It does. I think it's a mindful thing, right? It's a mindset. And I think every morning when you wake up and you have that mindset of how you're going to actually perceive that day, whatever's going to give you that energy of positivity for that day, that's what's going to get you going, whether that's music, whether that's dancing, whether that's just reading, whatever. It's going to positive affirmations out there, you know. I think
listening,
that's the mindset.
listening to positive things in the morning.
I think that's what causes your anxiety levels to go low, which will helps with me, but it also gets your day going to where then you're in that mindset already to where if anything does happen, then you can reset. And so allow yourself to reset, refocus every single moment you can, because I think that's what actually gets you going at that pace.
And there is a part of our brain. I don't want to misstate what part of the brain it is. I don't know if it's the vagus nerve. That just sounds like I should say Vegas since I'm going to be at NMHC shout out in November. But the fight or flight trigger that we all have as humans, as a fight, flight, or fawn. I believe, what is that? Are those the three? Fight, right? Yeah. So whatever in our body, if we wake up in a anxious, angry, fight, flight, or fight, fight, flight, or fight is what I'm trying to say. All those F's. If we're not mindful of why that's happening to us, it's gonna just continue to go in a negative direction. And if you follow negative energy, you're gonna get something. Negative, right?
I think it's an added component of your surroundings, of who you're around, your circle, making sure you have that, positive, but also that supportive group that's there for you through your highs and your lows. I think that all goes within my journey. I think it's not just myself. I think it's the self-discovery of knowing that there's other people out there. I think it's another discovery, knowing that live in the moment, right? Be present in the moment, allowing what was yesterday to be yesterday, the anxieties, the stresses, but also
forgive yourself for anything from the yesterday too,
right? It's grace, but it's also at the same time, not focusing so much what's going to happen down the line. And I think that's the self-discovery, what I'm doing, but it's allowing me to be very peace and harmonious in what my new journey is all about, to where I didn't understand back then, or maybe years ago, or maybe 6 months, or maybe 6 months ago or so, but where I know now. So I think a little bit it's a self-reflection, but it's also growing within that and just being present in the moment. I guess I wish I was wise enough like that long time ago. Wasn't it? You had to go through stuff before you get to it, to get to that point to be.
Yes. And it's a lot of self-awareness. It helps. You're peeling your own onion, and every time we do that, every time you step back and you say, no, like for me, I know if I don't get 8 hours, a minimum of 8 hours of sleep, I'm not in a good headspace the next day. I'm tired. I might be angry. I might be agitated. I'm behind. I feel behind because I didn't get the full, and I'm not thinking clearly. Like it is, I cannot believe I used to go on 3 hours of sleep and be okay with that. For a whole day.
I don't see. That's hard.
In my 30s, in my 20s, and my 30s, it was like, oh yeah, like, and especially at a conference, like when you go to on the supplier side, I'm just going to speak on the supplier side. I don't know how it works on the operation side, even though I have gone to conferences as a representative for an operation for a management company, but as a supplier going to any kind of conference, big conference, it's 3 or 4 days. You are up early in the morning.
Yep.
You're in meetings. You should be in meetings if you're making the most of your time. You're at breakfast and about to go to session. You're going to all the sessions. You're doing these things. You're exhibiting. Like it is like literally your schedule is dictated minute by minute. Every single for that whole 24 hours, or the whole 36, 72 hours that you're there at that conference. And you go to sleep, you go to dinners, there are happy hours, there are dinners, and then you wake up and you do it all over again. And so for 3 days you do that. So sometimes I would because let's just talk about Vegas, because of the way the time zone, because it's Pacific Standard Time, and we're behind everyone else on the East Coast, my clock would still be in Central Standard Time, and I would be awake at my 6 a.m. Central Standard Time when it was not when I shouldn't be in Vegas. Like it
Yeah.
was not good. Or I was already tired and ready. And then so I listen more to my body now that I've gotten
Yeah.
older. I
Yeah.
don't know if you find
Oh, you got to listen
similar.
to your body. Your body's going to tell you when to slow down. If you don't, it's going to make you slow down. I have been
That's
there
right.
plenty of times, and I think you bustle up so much of the energy that you got to
Yeah.
give yourself that time to rest. It's so important. Rest, when you can, and
Yeah.
take that time for yourself. Whatever it is that you like, I think that's all part of self-care, right?
Yeah.
That's all about making sure that you're 100%. It goes back into being 100% present in that moment, with that, and taking care of yourself, because no one else will. You're your own. So you
Yeah.
have
Nobody
to be
else is gonna
sure you're at your
yep.
top notch.
Nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to take care of you but you. And in order for to care for anyone else, you have to care for yourself first.
Exactly.
And you said it perfectly. Your body's going to tell you. If you don't listen to it, your body's going to put you in check. You know, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. Like first off, I feel the universe and God does that for you, but then your body is definitely something that's going to it's going to
Yeah.
say, nah,
Yeah.
because of the way that we're made, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just it's what it is. And if we're pushing ourselves to be some 100% and we are not filled, we have not filled up our tank to be that 100% and be
Mhm.
that present, it ain't gonna happen. And it's
Yeah,
bad. It's bad.
exactly. I think it's just showing up for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
But
showing up for you is perfect.
mhm.
Not forget about it, showing up as 100% you, right? You
Yeah.
know, I accidentally, I didn't mean to, but I got put in emergency detention a second time because I wasn't paying attention to my body. I wasn't paying attention to, and I stacked too many things too closely together in a very short window.
Yeah.
Very life-changing things, right? And my body, I wasn't listening to myself. I was pushing myself, and I ended up in the hospital. And that is a gut check, right? Is
Mhm.
the gut, everything that happened behind it, is a gut check. The fact that I came out of it like physically, I wasn't, harmed, and people were watching over me. People got me to the hospital. People did all the things, and I got the care that I needed. I got the rest that I needed to come
Yeah.
back. But and that was all, a God wink. God's like, okay, here, we're going to give you another try, but you've got to pay attention to yourself. Got to pay attention to the
Mhm.
body, right? I
Yeah.
wasn't doing that. And allowing others to also hold you accountable.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Have
how do
those
you feel?
accountable
How do you
people.
feel about people holding you accountable?
Oh my gosh. At first I used to fight it. I'm like, no, but now I'm like, I welcome it, because I think it's important. You got to have those people that's going to be that cheering crowd, but they're going to be the ones that are like, all right, I'm on that path with you. Let's do this. I can
Yeah.
see you working through this. What are we doing? And that's those coaches, that's those mentors. Those are your family, your friends, anyone out there that is got the best interest at your heart.
So let me ask you this, because this is something in my 40s that I started to dabble, that I hired a life coach, which I think that was kind of, I don't like to put the word life coach in front of it, just call it coach. But whatever that coaching, like I definitely did some coaching, because I was very blessed to have a lot of mentors. So I
Yeah.
got a lot of great advice for free, maybe not free, because a lot of coffees and lunches that I was happy to pay for. But the coaching realm, how do you explain to someone, because I feel coaching and therapy is absolutely needed in our lives,
Oh yeah.
if not early, but definitely when we hit that 40 mark, because we need to understand, we need to sometimes not reinvent ourselves, but refresh our energies and
Mhm.
refresh, what makes us happy. And because that changes every chapter, every 10 years.
Yeah, it does. I think, you're constantly revolving, right? If you're
Yeah.
not evolving, not revolving,
Evolving. Yeah. Yeah.
evolving and growing, then you're not learning. And I think we have to. And I think what a coach does is helps you get to those next stepping points. Those are the
Yeah.
ones that are going to not only hold you accountable, but your coach is going to stretch you outside of your limits to do the things that you never thought you could do, and
Yeah.
be persistent with it. But they actually really are the ones that are going to kind of stream up all that passion that you didn't realize you already had.
Yeah, it's like, it's for anybody that's played professional, not professional sports, but has played sports, period, or any kind of sport that you need a coach for. that's what coaches do in
Yeah.
the sports realm. They do the same thing when it comes to your professional career, and that is important.
It is very important. I recommend, if you are able to have a coach, or if you're able to have that person that can help hold you accountable, but help be there for you and stretch those limits, think outside of the box, and do things that you normally wouldn't do to better yourself and become a better you. It's an amazing thing. I truly am grateful for my coach, because she's put me through so much that I never thought I could do, and it just makes you a better you.
Yeah, it definitely, being the best version of you is what I strive for, and I try to share with others tips and tricks and anything that I can share with them that I've learned that might help them. You can take what you want from it, and leave the rest. But if it helps one person, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
I feel fulfilled for sure.
I definitely say never stop growing, always look for the positive versus the negative. Don't focus so much on that negative. Take those breaks, realize and embrace those objections and challenges, because those things help you grow. But also be mindful and give yourself credit for anything that you don't think you're doing great at. Be your best cheerleader at the same point, but at the same time, journal, walk, take time for yourself and figure out that self-discovery. Because
lean into it. Lean in. There was a great book that I actually listened to 100 years ago by the one Sheryl Sandberg, I believe is the female CEO of back then it was Facebook, but now it's Meta. But anyways, lean in. If you lean in, she does make a statement that that women have a tendency, they want to sit at the table, but they don't take that seat at the table. And when they get to the table, they don't lean in. And if you don't lean in, for me, I have found that always be learning, that I'm always learning, and I'm always teaching what I've learned. Because for me, leaning into that makes me happy. It makes me feel good. Like what drives me isn't money. It's the connection, it's the teaching, it's the learning, it's the collaboration, it's the community that I get from what I do. So
I love that.
I love how, that you have started this, you've decided, hey, this is what I was doing the last 10 years of my life. I'm not going to do that anymore, because it no longer serves me. That you've opened up a new chapter and started to peel back that onion to have that self-awareness for this, for your speaking and coaching career, which I
leaned into my purpose, right?
Yeah,
when you lean into your purpose and that calling, what's upon you, where you feel deep down in your heart and what's in your heart. And like you said, it's not about the money and aspects, it's about the impact. It becomes more about the people versus you. And that's where you feel that that inspiration. And
if it's money that drives you, that's great too, but you still has to be makes you happy. I'm not trying to be like all sunshine and rainbows, but believe me, my mama's expensive. I gotta pay the bills.
I'm all about sunshine and rainbows. What are you talking about? It's a positive life. Let's keep it going.
But you know what I mean? I want it to be as realistic to people to understand. But at the end of the day, if you're not checking yourself, nobody else is going to. And if you don't have that self-awareness and that accountability, you're gonna end up in some bad situations.
And I totally agree with you on that. And just to add in, just be authentic. Live. It goes back to being you.
Well, and when you're self-aware and you check yourself, you definitely become a lot more authentic. There's no hiding it, right? There's no hiding things when you are being you're checking yourself and you're self-aware and you're allowing people to hold you accountable. It helps you with your sense of purpose, and it also it helps me. It has helped me with my sense of purpose, and has also helped me just make that transition to the next whatever what is next, right?
Agree.
So tell everybody a little bit how they can connect with you. Because I'm going to throw
Yeah, so
your,
you definitely can connect with me here on LinkedIn at Lissi D. Also, you can follow me on my Instagram at Lissi Daniels, TikTok at Lissi Daniels, and then of course my website. I'm always here for encouragement, inspiration if you always want those doses, and a little bit of positivity with some realness at the same time.
yes, I was listening to an influencer the other day, and he's like, if you want more positive things in your life and your social media feed, just follow some positive accounts. And so, folks, I'm following some Lissi D for sure, because
Yeah,
I need more of that. You know, whenever
yeah,
I'm having a day that it's kind of teetering, when I put on something that is positive and inspirational,
yeah,
whether it's sunshine and roses or a sermon or something, or even talking about business, you know, shout out to Gary Vee, because his stuff always puts me in a positive mood. But I put that noise in the, it's not noise, but I put that sound on the background, even over music, because
yeah,
sometimes music doesn't help my mood, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to hear others and what they're doing to change and be a better that version of
Yeah,
themselves.
it starts. Yeah, again, I don't know why I keep going back, but it does really start with you.
It does.
It's that mindset of how you're going to get your day going and keep that
100%.
mindset throughout the day.
100%. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. I could talk to you for hours, and I probably shouldn't do that. But if again, if you watch this on the replay, make sure you put hashtag what city, put hashtag, you know, the little sign, folks, and then this replay and the city. So put hashtag replay El Paso, because that's where I'm at. Hashtag replay Houston, wherever you watched this live. Let us know where you watched. If you have a question for Lissi, make sure you put in the comments and you tag her, so that way she can respond. Since we won't be live, it'll be on the replay. But in order for her to see that, we need you to tag us. Tag, folks.
Yeah.
Um, and until next, well, hold on before aw. Thank you, Susan. We appreciate you for
Aw,
watching.
thank
Um,
you.
yeah, see, that's the great thing about going live, is that they have all day to watch this replay.
Well, hopefully
So
it's inspiring. I get
yes.
inspired listening to your story just as well.
Oh, well, thank you. We're going to be telling more of our stories together here in the future, I have a feeling, because I want people to understand that life happens to us. It happens to us when we are being mothers, sisters, fathers, brothers, you know, parents. Life happens to us, and nobody dictates. You know, everybody's mind is different, so it's all
Mhm.
going to look different. And the more that we can start sharing how that happens, the
Yeah,
better. And so
I
that
agree.
we inclusive too. That's the
Mhm.
best way to have inclusivity, is by showing this, you know, vulnerability, that life is not is going to throw you curveballs all the time, right? But it's what you do
Exactly.
with those curveballs that makes a difference.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you 100%.
Well, I appreciate you. And until next Wednesday, remember, sharing is caring, folks. And don't forget to follow Lissi Daniels, because she's got some positive stuff going on. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a great Wednesday.